Do you know what we do here? My section?
Sir, yes, sir, I have an idea,
Whoa,
sir.
whoa, whoa. Let's say you have no idea and leave it at that, okay? No idea. Zip. None. If you had an idea about what we do, we would not be good at what we do, would we? We would be cunts. You calling us cunts?
Trent, I have a question for you.
Yes.
What have you eaten most recently?
Okay, awesome. Wait, can you ask me again, but as the Joker?
No problem, Trent. Trent, I have a question for you.
Yeah, what's that, the Joker?
Well, Trent, I suppose I want to ask you what you've been eating most recently.
Oh, thank you, the Joker. And thank you, Bane, from earlier.
No problem.
Now that all of Gotham's supervillains have assembled to small talk, all I have inside me is my shift meal from working at the restaurant this morning, and I spent the rest of the day installing a blind in my New Brunswick apartment with my mom because I couldn't do it alone. And then I get home and I'm tired and I'm hungry.
He's your mommy's boy.
And Parth is like, "We need a podcast right now."
That's what I sound like, yeah.
And I was like, "But Parth, I'm so hungry and I'm so tired. Like, maybe we could just like reschedule or do a little rain check." And you're like, "I'm tired of your excuses. This podcast is a full-time job."
It's not the podcast the listeners deserve, but it's the one they need right now.
Yeah. So what'd you have?
Thanks for asking, Trent.
Yeah, sorry I can't assemble any supervillains to pose that question.
None? Can you do one? Can you do a Joker impression?
Do you do request? No, well, the Joker's already here. You want me to try? This is embarrassing.
I want you to try. I want you to embarrass yourself a little bit. Just, it's for the show, Trent.
Well, when it's for the pod, I'm willing to try anything once. All right.
Yeah, get those licking sounds.
Parth. What have you been eating recently? Ooh. All right. All right. Well, that was that. It was mostly like lips and tongue.
Thanks for asking me, other Joker.
Joker 2 to be exact.
Yeah, well,
Joker 2.0.
Topical, considering Joker 2 is in development.
Is it going to be called Joker 2? Because that sounds like a stupid name.
Stupid name for a stupid movie. Ew!
Wait, maybe it'll be called... It'll do the Alien or the Predator's trick, and it'll just be called Jokers.
It's like multiple?
Well, it could be the Jokerverse, bro. I feel like... Oh, has that upset you?
That just seems like a bad idea.
Yo, dude, it would be super tasteful if we CGI'd Heath Ledger's dead body just into the film. Yeah, I'm sure.
Speaking of tasteful, my parents bought these shitty fruit peel apart things. They're
kind of like a fruit roll-up?
Kind of, but like more healthy versions of those.
So like fruit bark kind of thing?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
But it was good.
What
I
fruit
enjoyed my time.
was it originally from?
I think it was like mixed berries or something like
Is
that.
Joaquin Phoenix coming back for Joker 2? I feel like he should have been artistically way above the first project, which makes his return even more questionable.
And that's why I love you, Trent. You stay on topic. As far as I know, I think he is. Or he's meant to. Because it's Todd Phillips is coming back. But
Parth, if you had to choose between Jack Nicholson Joker and Joaquin Phoenix Joker, let's just make that little distinction before the introduction music.
You want me to choose?
Choose. Because I feel like the first place spot and the fourth place spot are firmly cemented. So if we were going to have an interesting conversation about this subject, this is the only real ordering there's left to do.
They're very different. I think both do a relatively good job, but I would say, are we talking their Jokers or how they are in their movie?
I feel like it'd be an unfair comparison because Joaquin Phoenix has
a whole movie to himself.
Has a whole movie to himself, and Jack Nicholson has like 40% of that movie.
And I think as a Joker, I think Jack Nicholson is more interesting.
Good to know. All right, it's the Departed episode, ladies and gentlemen.
Let's cue the intro.
And just a forewarning, Parth and I will be speaking in Baston accents. Not during the whole time, but If the word departed rolls around, I think
Batted.
the departed. Come on. It's the Departed week, baby. Come on. It's for the pod. All right. That's enough. Welcome back to the podcast, Craft Services, the show about Das movies. Each week we select one film and interview someone who work on Das film. Comrade Parth, you want to take it from here?
Yes. This week we talk about The Departed
The Departed, yeah.
with its script supervisor, Martha Pinson. Now, Trent, I want you to remind me of a very simple opinion that you have. This interview, would you say you liked it?
I would go as far as to say I really liked it. Yeah, no, Martha Pinson was a delightful woman, and she's been Martin Scorcese's script supervisor
On many, many films.
on many, many films. And I don't know if you've ever worked closely with Martin Scorsese. Have you? You seem pretty qualified.
No, he and I were on a really good first name basis.
Oh, you and Marty?
Yeah, well, okay, Trent. I mean, don't overstep your bounds, okay?
Oh, excuse me. You and Mr. Scorsese?
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, no, me and Marty, we're tight, we're cool, we've got a good flow going, you know. I think over the years he's really mellowed, and it's just you've seen him grow into the artistic filmmaker you know he already was, you know?
All right, so are you saying that you played a role in developing him into that filmmaker? In that
look,
fully formed artist?
Trent, I'm not gonna sit here and deny what you just said. I'm not gonna confirm it, but I'm definitely not gonna deny it. It would just be uncouth. I make it a policy not to talk about
So, Parth,
how I influence the greatest directors of all time.
just riddle me
Yeah.
this. Okay, it's my impression that you were, like, when Goodfellas was released, you
Yeah.
weren't even alive yet. So, like, thus meaning,
You know,
how
I mean,
could
don't
you
believe everything you've heard.
how could you have influenced him?
Yeah, so Martha Pinson worked with Brian De Palma. She worked with Oliver Stone, Sidney Lumet. You know, Marty is not the much like myself is not the only great director that she's worked with, and she had a bunch of fun stories. She was a very sweet lady, and we hope to have her again, maybe sometime.
Yeah, and believe it or not, because of all the juicy details that were spilled in the episode, Martha Pinson said we're gonna have to get this checked out by the Scorsese team. And so some poor intern in the Scorsese office is listening to that interview right now and waiting to see if any trade secrets are revealed. And Martin Scorsese's desk jockey, if you're hearing this, we appreciate your time. Thanks for coming. At least you're getting paid to listen to the show. Tell Mr. Scorsese we said hello. Tell Martha Pinson we said hello.
Say hello to Marty for me,
And-
Jack.
Yeah, no, and just I have this really good short film idea, and like it's gonna be you just like
So Martha Pinson now. Hello, everybody, and welcome to our interview with Martha Pinson. She's the script supervisor behind such projects as Wall Street, Dressed to Kill, The Aviator, and our film for today, Martin Scorsese's The Departed. Thank you so much for being with us.
My pleasure. Thank you.
So just to start out, if you could tell us what your relationship with film was at a young age.
Well, I grew up on a farm in New Jersey back in the 50s, you know. I loved the movies. Film and also literature were just so exciting to me, and also dance. So there was a movie theater like about 5 miles from me in Bernardsville, New Jersey, and that's the one we went to. When I was pretty young, $1 Million movie came on television, CBS, I think it was. And so they played classic movies on the television, which I also loved. So I was just smitten by film from the first chance I got to see it. And I loved the visuals. It seemed like a miracle to me that something could be imaginary and yet have all the real senses of movement, voice, visual beauty, or action. It just was, I thought it was amazing.
So did you have any sort of formal or informal film education? And how did you find your way into the industry?
Yes. When I was in college, they didn't really have much in the way of film education. For example, like I went to Vassar and I was an English major, and they had a film society. So we could go see movies on Friday evening in one of the local, buildings, right? And that was great. I loved it. But they didn't have any film study programs. However, I think they started the first film program, classes when I was a junior, maybe a senior. So it was just getting going when I was graduating. Shortly after, it did get pretty big. NYU Film School got to be pretty big pretty fast. Yes. And what was the other part of the question?
How did you find your way onto set, essentially?
Okay. I was a film buff, and I moved up to Cambridge, Massachusetts. That's where some of my friends were. After college, I was away from home, but I sort of figured I would have to, get a job and so forth. And I loved all the indie film theaters in Cambridge, Mass, and Boston. And I would go to them. And one of my friends said she saw in the paper that there was a job for someone to sell tickets at the Orson Welles Cinema, and she just showed it to me, and I'm like, all right, I'll apply, because I could go. Reason I liked it was not to sell tickets, but to get free pass to all the other indie movie theaters in Cambridge. So I went in, and the fellow hired me. I was lucky. I guess I just seemed, kind of enthusiastic and relatively calm and nice or something. I'm not, but
Mm-hmm.
I made the sense that I was. So I was hired, and so I started selling tickets, and I loved going to all the free movies and meeting some of the directors that came in, like Bob Marley and Jimmy Cliff, because we were showing Harder They Come every Friday night for like a year. So I moved up from selling tickets and candy to being the house manager, to being the head of publicity. And that actually happened pretty quickly, because the theater was kind of thriving and growing. And this was I started there in 73, and, I moved up pretty fast. And I think about 76, 75 is about when I left to work in New York. It was timing and just my natural love of movies. And I was pretty, sociable and calm. And so I got along with the other employees, and the programmer of the theater said I should come to con with him and look for films. So we did that, and that was amazing. And so then, for example, Hester Street, which Joan Silver directed, was one of the hits we found at Con Film Festival. And so then I handled the public relations, the publicity and everything for that, and lots of other documentaries and also indie dramatic films. So Joan Silver and a couple of other people, Mary McLuhan, people said to me, Martha, I made money because of what you did. You have to work for me. I'm like, okay, doing what? So I was invited to visit a set and to come to New York City, kind of hang out while people were shooting, this and that. I worked as a production assistant on a film for one of those people. And I was introduced to a script supervisor on one of the features. A script supervisor was one of the few jobs in a general sense for a woman on set, because most of the other jobs involve, carrying heavy equipment or, handling like a camera or a bunch of sound gear. If you had a rich dad, you could be a director. Just a regular person, you could be a script supervisor, or go into the production office, shall we say. I wanted to be on set for sure. I wasn't interested in being in the office. I hate being in an office. I love to be active. So working on the street, I was like, you kidding me? That's great. I was just introduced to script supervisor. It was amazing kind of how natural it sort of was, because I think it was my timing. And then I had an honors degree from Vassar College in literature and Shakespeare and Greek drama. I mean, and dance and whatever. I knew kind of the general area of creativity. I just was able to attend shoot days as an observer and a trainee, and then was introduced to people, and I I started getting hired. It wasn't that hard. I think my timing was good. The film industry in New York City was kind of blossoming in the mid 70s.
Mm-hmm.
So what was the first major motion picture that you script supervised?
The first major motion picture was Dressed to Kill.
Oh my God.
Wow.
Yes.
Starting with the big one.
Yeah. I don't know. It was kind of just random that
Did you know who Brian De Palma was going into it?
Yeah, absolutely. Anyway, so I did just to back up a little bit, I was living partly in Boston, this and that, and I knew some people there, this and that. So I was script supervisor on a 4-part historical dramatic miniseries based on the Scarlet Letter, 4 episodes. And then the director said, you're the only person I can trust. Will you come and stay with me in post and help me edit this? I'm like, yeah, sure. We shot like all summer, the 4 episodes, and it was wonderful. John Hurd was the star, and I've forgotten the other people, but whatever. It was good, and it was a PBS special, and so I worked for like 6 months in post with the director, and that was really helpful as well because I learned a lot about editing. And then and it was a quality piece, a great novel. Then I sort of went back to New York, and I knew a few people and got a few introductions and worked as a PA on a film. And I was introduced to the script supervisor, who was a wonderful veteran, and she had even written a book about it. So I got the book and, stuff like that. It seemed like it was all very natural. And I met people, I had to get up there and meet some people. And then, so I got the calls to Dressed to Kill. And I loved the script. And I was terrified, shaking when oh my God, it's so scary. But I was completely just amazed. On the other hand, it's not like a really fancy job. It's a gritty job. You have to make sure that there are no errors. You have to make sure that if an actor changes a line, it's okay. It's not making a stupid error in the film. You have to make sure that the collar is right. Nowadays we have, video playback, stuff like that. But in the 1980s, all there was somebody's word. You couldn't play anything back or whatever, just
right.
Which hand did I have the gun in? So it was all about jotting down what needed to be clocked as correct.
Jumping forward a little bit, how did you end up getting involved with The Departed, and how did your working relationship with Martin Scorcese, how did that sort of start?
Well, the thing is, there again, I was just really, really lucky. I did, I think, 8 or 9 movies with Sidney Lumet. It was just, he was so amazing, and he just thought I was smart, and yeah, call her. It was incredibly wonderful aspect of working with him was that he had 2 or 3 weeks of rehearsal with the cast and so forth. So I learned a lot. Somebody just, I guess, knew me, like a production manager or somebody who was like hiring or whatever, making calls. So it was 1986, I think, when I got the call to work on the video for Michael Jackson's Bad with the Scorcese. That was my first job with Marty. And it was terrific. It was a few days in the subway, and it just went well. I mean, I think we just sort of was okay. He thought I was okay. Wasn't a big challenge or anything, but I think I did a good job. And so I was sort of on the radar. But then I did go back to working with, other people. So I was kind of booked.
So what was the first Scorsese picture you worked on?
Bringing Out the Dead, which was amazing. It was fascinating, but hard work because it was mostly nights and a lot exterior. It was, we earned our salaries for sure.
So just a quick question, jumping back to the music video you mentioned, because I'm sure there's less dialogue to be keeping an eye out for. So is it mostly just like costume and prop based continuity?
Well, the key thing is, in a sense, truthfully, you're right. A music video is not difficult to script supervisor. It's a script supervisor. In fact, I'm sure lots of them don't even have them. But there were some regular sort of dramatic exchanges, conversations. And then there was, dance and music and everything. So the good news that makes it easier for the script supervisor is that musicians, the singers, and they got it down. It's not like they're just figuring it out for the first time. The choreography, the performance, that's all pretty well worked out. They're not ad-libbing it as they go along, which makes it a little more complicated for us. So it was just a matter of making sure that certain key elements in the staging, the lighting, the props, even just the background, matched established continuity so that it would cut the way it was intended to be cut. You shoot things out of order, so sometimes you shoot the small piece that goes halfway past the middle, kind of, so that has to match what you then may shoot the next day or next month. That that is supposed to be the moment right before it, but you shoot it months later, so everybody has to know that it's got to match.
Have you ever worked on a film that was shot in sequence?
No.
Does that never happen?
There's always, I think, a consideration and an effort to give it some sequence, to save the end somewhat for the end. Mm-hmm. But yeah, no, it's just understood that you shoot it the way that it makes sense to shoot it, based on the cast, the locations, various things.
So going back to The Departed, what's it like being on set? What's the sort of vibe there? How many takes does he shoot? How often does he change things on set? Because I'm sure those are all sort of considerations you have to take into account as a script supervisor.
One thing that's established with The Departed, as well as the other films I did with Marty, is that he plans very carefully the visual and the editing and the design and you name it of his shots. And he has a list, as it were. He's sketched on the page what he wants to see, how he wants to see it, how it's going to be staged. I mean, it's just a sketch or a jot or a diagram sometimes, but he's got it in his mind. So he has the film, in a sense, already edited in his
all mapped out
before he, it's all in his brain before he gets to set, right? Mm-hmm. The tremendous amount of work goes into all the aesthetic and artistic camera, art, design, decor, all of it, right? So then it's a question of like taking a close look at what he has planned, so that you're on the same page, literally. And because I could look at those things, and so the DP could also, of course, just okay, this is what he wants. Okay, got it. And so then the coordination and the communication was all very, I'd say, very respectful and intelligent, and kind of teamwork. You could assume that everyone was going to do their absolute best, and to provide what was needed. So there weren't very many, like drastic, disappointments or anything. There was also, especially with The Departed, which not especially, but more so than a lot of other films, Marty was always open to ad-libs. He liked the opportunity for the actors to kind of wing it and be themselves and be the character and just go there a little bit. Yeah, I mean, it was both a combination of the actors, what their instinct was about the scene, or, and you can get, 3 good takes and then just say, just say whatever you want, kind of, and it's all. And so then something really genius comes out of that freedom and this sort of like a license to just ad-lib, right? Actors do enjoy that, especially if they're, they're into their character and the scene and the moment. It's natural to leave that open. So that there was a fair amount of that in The Departed, because it's a contemporary, relatively contemporary, common people's exchange. Something like a Shakespeare play, or even like The Aviator, in a sense. It was a little more formalized because of the setting and the the historical aspects.
With the advent of digital cameras, I'm sure nowadays you can just like take a picture of the room and then reference back to that. But before that, with film stock, would you like keep notes of where every piece of paper is, or how would you go back, since you couldn't reference the previous material?
Yes, going back, yes, jot it down, sketch it on the paper. on the page. My script, the script supervisor script, had a ton of little X's and crosses and arrows and jots of colors and LH, left hand, whatever. But there also was the possibility to take Polaroids, right?
Mm-hmm.
That was the first camera we used. They were handy, absolutely. So we would just get them. I mean, you had to like pick a time when, the sets and props kind of got to the point where they were in like process of shooting, not just prep or, and you want to get a picture of the actor or actress, when the hair is when it starts and the hair is when it's halfway through, because then they go to lunch and you want to make sure it looks the same when you come back. Or, as I say, come back weeks later to do the next scene. And so, but other departments would also take Polaroids, hair, makeup, wardrobe would always, be on top of that. But that moment to moment thing, it was a jot or a Polaroid until about, through the 80s and early 90s, I guess. It evolved, certainly. And getting a nice digital camera that would just work fast and have more detail in a sense than Polaroid was great.
So with The Departed, if you could speak on how long that shoot was, if you can remember that, and how much of it is studio versus location shooting, and sort of has the amount of studio versus location shooting, has that changed over time?
I think it's relatively similar between, like, say, actually, we shot The Departed in 2005, so that's not that long ago.
Yeah,
and it was. I think it must have taken us about 3 months to shoot. I don't remember. I don't have my paperwork to
sure. Yeah,
the day count, but we shot the offices in a sense, right? Those were on a stage because a lot of time was there, and so it was cheaper and easier and more convenient to build this sets that are going to be used quite a bit and have it in studio. It is very efficient in many ways, right? To have key, locations or rooms that you need to be in for a good deal of time, to have them built. And then it's easier and faster and cheaper to shoot things that you just going to once or that you have established, like the landmark, shall we say. Then you just go. So it was a combination. I think it might have been a few more days on a stage than on locations. Maybe a little more than that on stage, I'd say. And it's interesting. I realized that, once you finish a job, you don't think about how many days it was for more than a few days, and you're just happy that you did it, and get some rest and spend time with your family.
So, in reference to keeping track of dialogue, when an actor strays from the script, are you just, like, nudging the director and being like, look here, they said this instead of this? Or are you talking to the actor and saying, hey, here's the line?
Yes, that's something which is worked out pretty much day one between the director and the actor. Which does he or she prefer? And I'll just do it however they want it. There is, I have worked with directors, and in fact, Sidney Lumet was like this. He said, if there's an error in the dialogue, tell me, I'll tell them. He thought it was better, that he was the person that was talking to them, that it was less distracting and more kind of consistently focused if he was the one that gave the note to the actors. Great. So I just do that. And it varies, obviously, as freelancers, we work with lots of different people. So I would just find out what was the preferred. And also sometimes there would be a question where even the director might even ask me, how was that? Was that good? I said, well, we forgot the line about the car. Should I tell him? No, let him do one more. Let me before we mention that. Or better tell him. Whatever. It all has to be worked through,
Sure.
So are there directors who openly ignore continuity errors, and is that a blessing or a curse to you?
It's all fine. There are instances where it sort of doesn't matter if you're doing a scene and the kind of sense is that we're going for it, right? Well, this is a specific example, but there may be a scene where the end of it is kind of, there's something that's gotten kind of frantic between the characters, whatever. And so the actor might say, I want to just dump this desk over, just smash it. And they're like, okay. So what they will do in a case like that is make sure that they have what leads up to it. Like get 3 or 4 good takes of everything leading up to this point where he wants to smash the desk so that it can be done and it's over. That's the cut. We're moving on once we smash up the desk. But most things are flexible to be able to be done again with a perfection of the dialogue or even a direction by the director to just say whatever you want. Let's just say whatever. Doesn't matter. If there's a way to, just control it in the sense that you get what you need, that has to be established. And once you get that, you can just sort of throw it into an ad lib that can change the dialogue, say whatever. There are instances where I felt that the actor maybe made a mistake that it wouldn't be good. We probably should get one with the right of the other character, right? Something like that would not be good. But usually they're not, they study the lines, they rehearse them. Most actors are pretty conscientious that way. But there can be just like an omission of something or just something, that contradicts something that we changed, last week because they wanted to do this and now the script says that, but we should change it so it suits what we already established this week. Last week rather, stuff like that. There's subtleties, but it's not that, it's not that stressful or complicated.
So for The Departed, were there any scenes or anything about that project that you found particularly challenging at that time? Every
day making a movie is challenging for pretty much everybody. I mean, not in a serious way, but there's a lot of moving parts. There's time pressure. It's expensive to have a lot of people there working and lighting and all the other factors, right? Thing is, everything has to be respected, and everyone's time and effort has to be respected because it's substantial. Yeah, I mean, if a scene has a lot of people in it, and there's something like big that's going to happen, like an explosion or something, or that, it's tense. You just want to make sure that that you get what you need before you blow it up, or before actually a car crash is nerve-wracking, but it's like, to a certain extent, what's going to happen is going to happen, and that everybody's trained and calm and focused, but you just have to sort of hope, that, okay, everything goes well, that nothing wrong happens. There's a possibility to fix certain things in post. You can erase color or something in a frame. You can cut away, cut back. There's a flexibility, but every scene has certain pressure that you get it right, whether it's action, dialogue, you name it.
So you also worked on Oliver Stone's Wall Street, and we were wondering what that was like.
That was a great script, great cast. Oh my God. I just really, really enjoyed working with all the cast and the team. And Oliver is very, very smart, very focused. I mean, he just kept on it. I felt like this is a great script. We can't go wrong here. Just do it, And there again, wasn't really complicated in that it was relatively present and relatively, normal human interactions and so forth. It was a challenge to keep really, really focused because it was such a great opportunity to work on something, like that smart and just don't mess up, So I just hung in there like everyone else, every day.
So you've also worked on Law and Order, Trial by Jury, and SVU, and we were wondering what it's like to work on a television series.
A couple of things that are a little bit different about television series is that you're not like on this adventure. You go pretty much to the studio every day, and then you shoot locations that are relatively convenient, right? So you go home at night, which you don't on a big movie. You're all over the world, or you're in 2 or 3 different cities, whatever. Different tracks can just come up, when you accept a feature film. On a TV series, you get to be sort of more like a team, like a friendly group of filmmakers that, the whole crew. and cast to a certain extent, to a great extent, that you're like a solid set of people that are doing this series, not just one episode, not you're just going for it. So your life is a little more predictable, and you have more time to develop a working rapport with with the same people, and so it's a little more sort of peaceful. But the shows are not as sort of dramatically exciting as something like The Aviator, where you're crashing a plane. I did the courtroom stuff, but I love the courtroom work because the dialogue's so intelligent. It's really challenging, and it takes some thought, like to just even sort of follow where this is going, and it's great.
So you have some directorial credits, one film called Tomorrow and another one called Devastation that, according to IMDb, is in pre-production, and we were wondering about those.
I directed Tomorrow, which I was hired to do by these wonderful British filmmakers, actors, writers. I first met these people, these producers, and I think it was about 2012 when one of my screenplays won a prize at a film festival, and I went over there and I met these fellows. They were doing film festivals, but also writing and developing stuff. So I was actually hired to direct Tomorrow. And so I didn't have to worry about the producing or raising the money or, they were in charge of getting that done. The two lead actors wrote the script, and it was excellent. I just hung in there and
made the movie.
Yeah, was a dream come true. It was a really good script, and it wasn't insanely difficult in certain technical ways. There was not that much in terms of visual effects, which I don't mind. I'm used to doing those, but it just was. I loved the idea of just shooting a drama. Which had some humor and a personal connection. It was just a tremendous opportunity. Yeah, it was. We won a lot of festival prizes, and they had a 100-screen release in the UK. Getting in the UK, the release in the US was a little hard because for a small indie film, it's a big country, big market. So but we'll see. One of the actor, writers, producers is really dedicated. So we'll see. So that was just a wonderful, wonderful experience. I loved working with the actors and the staging and the just creating the drama and the beauty of the story.
So your upcoming film, is it a similar situation where you're contracted to direct?
Yes, I was contacted and in a sense hired. However, it's still in pre-production, and it was moving forward a year and change ago when the pandemic hit, so it was put on hold. Mm-hmm. So be it. That's life. And but I'm still in touch with the writer producer, and all good. We just have to see. I can't predict exactly what's going to happen, but it's also a wonderful script, and I know that is one thing I am just a spoiled brat when it comes to, is that I would not want to direct something that I didn't think was beautiful. Mm-hmm. Why bother? Yeah. And I mean beautiful in the human, dramatic sense.
Mm-hmm. Trent, do you think it's time for the big kahuna, as it were?
The big kahuna question. The grand finale.
Yay, okay.
So we like to ask all of our guests at the end what the last great movie they watched was.
Okay, well, I recently watched Hair.
Oh.
Milos Forman's Hair, which I thought was wonderful. It was just this wild, hippie. I also, I have been watching, I rewatched The Departed.
The Departed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, The Departed, yeah. And just because I felt like it. I mean, I had a a DVD of it, but I just wanted to see it again, just to relive it. And it was kind of convenient because you guys wanted to talk to me about that.
Sure, yeah, it's a great movie.
Yeah.
Do you ever, under any circumstances, revisit the films you've worked on, or only when you're podcasting?
No, I have, thought about them, talked to friends or whatever, family about them, and rewatch them. Sure. That's kind of normal, just to say, you know what? Oh, yeah, I think I'll watch Prince of the City again. Mm-hmm. And I watched other things that I just felt like, and I'm going to do more. I can get them from Netflix, so it's something I have, but seeing the actors kind of remembering everything and the moments. But there is also something that happens where when you're shooting a film, you want to get it done. You want to get it done right. It's not like watching a film. it's
Right.
It's a whole other mental and emotional state.
Mm-hmm. Well, you've worked on some great films, so it would only make sense to want to rewatch them. Trent, you want to take us out?
Sure. Thank you so much to our guest, Martha Pinson. She's worked on such films as Wall Street, Dress to Kill, The Aviator, and our film for today, Martin Scorcese's The Departed. Thanks so much for coming on. You were excellent. You were wonderful.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. I hope so.
Ah, yes. What a wonderful interview. Would you not say that, Joker?
I really enjoyed talking with the script supervisor, Martha Pinson. As you may have heard, worked on all sorts of great films.
Enough of that.
Does Joker talk with the Doppler effect in your version? Or?
I was just gonna say, most of the effect was moving back and forth towards the mic. I guess.
I see.
I guess it was nice of you to use that physics term from junior year. You've really been saving that in your back pocket.
Hey, I just learned about the Doppler effect in my sound class last semester, actually, Trent.
In physics in high school, they just said it was the thing with ambulances. Is that the comparison they made with you in sound class?
That's my impression of an ambulance. What out of 10, what would you rate it?
Here's my impression of a boring scientist explaining the Doppler effect to the listeners at home who may have not taken high school physics or college level sound class. So let me just put on my glasses.
So the Doppler effect is like the scientific.
And what you can hear here is Trent Algair trying to remember what the Doppler effect is, and so he's kind of just saying random jargon to make up for his total and utter lack of knowledge, which is not new for Trent. He often talks like this. He generally doesn't know anything and kind of just says words to make up for his vast intellectual inadequacies.
So next week on Craft Services, Parth and I will be doing a Departed discussion.
Oh, wait. Oh, what discussion?
Oh, the Departed discussion.
So next week, we're going to be discussing The Departed.
The Departed.
Departed.
Without Martha Pinson.
Yeah, no, she couldn't make it that day, unfortunately.
No, super busy.
You know, working with Marty.
But if you like our show, 2 weeks from now, 50th episode spectacular. I don't mean to be this guy. It's going to be spectacular. Am I wrong about that? Wait, do you think it's only going to be like wonderful or stupendous or whatever?
Absolutely not. No, it's going to be spectacular. I'm very, very excited for our 50th episode. I can't believe we've made it that far.
Such a big milestone for us. I'm so proud.
Yeah, no, it was one of my favorite interviews that we've done.
Yeah.
Much like this one was.
So that will be with the second unit director of Sam Raimi's Army of Darkness, Doug Leffler. Great man. I'd say as good a man as Martha Pinson is a good woman. And
Ayo.
So with that all being said, thanks for tuning in. We appreciate your time.
And you know what else we'd appreciate?
Tell the people you have a strict list of orders, and if they don't abide by them, there will be consequences. So just speak on that.
So here's what we want you to do. And when we say want, we say require of you, need from you is,
step one.
You're probably listening to this on some sort of podcasting platform, Apple Podcasts,
which is
Spotify.
A good start.
Yeah. What we need you to then do is, after listening to all of our episodes, of course.
All of them.
Yes, every single one you must listen to. You could skip the first one. I want you to rate us 5 stars. I want you to follow us. I want you to, on Apple Podcasts, give us a good rating and a good review. I want you to say really nice things about us But if you can't do that, just say really nice things about me.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, and Bob's your uncle. Follow us on Instagram. Follow us on Twitter. We are pretty active.
So, Parth, I agree with everything you were just saying, but you were telling me off mic about this new, large weapon that you've acquired, and that how you would have no choice but to deploy this weapon if certain listeners were to disobey our requests, or I guess a nice way of saying our strict demands, and that this is a sort of lethal weapon.
So what I'll say about that is we may or may not have gotten in some hot water when we first acknowledged the existence of said weapon, and our legal department has informed me that I have to unequivocally deny that I have such a weapon in my possession. And I would just like to say that there is no way that I would ever tell you or confirm that I have a weapon. But if I did have a weapon, I would not be afraid to use it should my list of demands not be met.
All right, Parth, I am seeing someone is joining the call. Hi, this is Peter from Craft Services HR, and I would...
Peter, not right now. We're recording an episode.
Oh, but Parth, I just wanted to tell you about how you can't talk about the weapon on the air. That the weapon most certainly exists, and it is capable of mass destruction.
Peter, you fucking idiot! We're Oh my fucking god, we're
there
recording.
Will be serious legal repercussions if you mention the weapon in any way, because it's
Peter.
Private information.
Oh god, you've ruined this whole fucking thing. You're so dumb.